All right, what's going on, everybody? Boilon back for another video on Marvel Strike Force. This is the second video that I'm recording at like 2 in the morning, but this one's not going to go out until later this afternoon, probably because of the recent video and news about the Vigilantes team. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about the event store, my recommendations on what you should be buying with your X coins and why. I also want to cover some of the feedback that I've been hearing about Overpower on the back of yesterday's Strike Spot video. It's not been good. I sifted through all the comments on my video and I failed to see a single positive comment about the upcoming Overpower, whatever you want to call it. It's not even progression system. It's just the new ways for power. But we'll talk about that. So let's spoil this down. Okay, let's start here. So the Xcoin store is running for another 41 days. Basically, it was 42, so that was 6 weeks that this store is going to be available. And I'm going to tell you right now what I am buying is G20 Mystic Minis. Okay. There's two big reasons, I suppose, for this is going to be your arena team, but namely, it's going to be Odin and it's going to be Null. Now, this is even bigger on the back of Overpower, which applies to PvP, which includes Arena, and Cosmic Crucible is probably the big one. I guess Alliance War as well, but Cosmic Crucible is the big one. So if you get Odin to gear tier 20 first or before other players, your Odin is going to overpower their Odin or their team, which is going to give you a 25% boost from gear 20 and a 50% damage boost from the overpower, right? So that's a grand total of 75% damage if you have G20 over any of their characters. I mean, I guess it depends, a character to character, right? And so that's a pretty. Actually, is that how does that work, right? Does if Odin's yeah, I guess right. So as long Odin's overpowered against other G19s, and then he's not overpowered against other. Yeah, it's so weird. Like I don't know. I don't know. It's 2 in the morning. Anyways, you should be buying the G19 minis, right? So I actually purchased one, or sorry, 20 Mystic minis. I had purchased one of the other Mystic minis, so I spent two. The expectation for the X coins, if you watch my video from the other day about the event, that you're gonna get if you hoarded about 1,000 energy and you're spending 200 cores daily, you'll get about 800,000 X coins. Now, this shouldn't be a big problem to spend. At first I was like, is this store only going to be available for a week? But no, we have a lot of time to spend it, so don't worry about that. Right? It's okay. You can wait for refreshes and things like that. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. Looking at the rest of the stuff in the X coin store is absolute garbage. Like, don't do this. 10,000 for G19 minis, which are absolutely abundant. The rest is flat garbage. Only buy G20. Frankly, if you're not even there yet, still buy G20 minis. I'm telling you, if you're still in the teal gear, buy the G20 minis. Like there's no reason to buy any of this other shit. It's super abundant. So focus on the Mystic minis. That's going to be the most important because of Null is going to be for not all of us, but some of us will be unlocking Null come Saturday. And if you're part of that crowd who's going to be getting Null, then that's going to be pretty important too. Of course, Odin I would do first, but second after that I would do Null because of the arena meta. But you're also going to be using them for the Xavier Saga anyways. And frankly, I don't think it matters in what order we complete the Xavier Saga because you're going to be doing all 25 characters anyways. Like you're going to have to do 25 characters. It's going to be a lot of Mystic characters as well. They want you to level like Oath and Blade and stuff like that for the city section. There's some other Mystic characters in there like Kahori who you're going to want to build. So Mystic is going to be fairly abundant and probably the most required out of all the minis, in my opinion. So there you go. The second thing that I wanted to talk about is some of the feedback related to actually the second thing I want to talk about is the Starjammers updates. I forgot about that. So this came out last evening as well sometime, right? They made a post about this, which is really funny. I think a lot of us saw this coming because some of the player feedback over the weekend with regards to Cosmic Crucible across like almost every content creator, right? Talked about how Starjammers was disappointing. Now, I had mixed feelings about it. I do feel like yes, there was some issues with there was bugs actually related to Hank Pym and his positioning. There was inconsistencies in Havoc's speed and stuff like that, and so there were times where Black Panther Shuri would go first. I want to talk about some of the changes. A lot of it, actually, we're just gonna go straight into it. We're gonna skip the text and why they did it, and it doesn't matter. We know why because there's a lot of outcry. There's a lot about Starjammers. So the changes in specials, the changes in Havoc's special is that he is now going to be doing 70% more damage on his special attack. His ultimate is now going to be clearing all positive effects and all charges on the primary target. Now, it is a single target action, so do keep that in mind as well. And his passive now is going to do more piercing from 200 to 300 on the retaliation. So that is pretty. That should be pretty meaningful, like because it's piercing. So when you get some stars on Havoc, that's going to start to hurt. 300% piercing from 200%. That's a pretty big increase. And then the speed portion of this in Crucible, this character and All Star Jammer allies gain 5% speed up to a max of 20. So this is changing from the whole barrier shit where it's up to 50%. And this was like if you had like 10 enemies, like I don't know, if you had summoned enemies that had barrier, then there would be like a max of 50%. It was in Crucible. Like if this was outside of Crucible, I could be like, sure, maybe this would happen in like Dark Dimension or something like that. I don't know where you would get a full sweeping board of enemies to get that 50%. So that was a bit strange, I found. Anyways, and so this is going to be a little bit more consistent because there's very few characters that block speed mechanics. There's like Emma Frost, right? But there's like, I can't think of anyone. I don't know who else is on the docket that blocks speed mechanics. Most people block speed bar mechanics. Now, Howard the Duck also got an update. His special clears 2 positive effects. A lot of the big problems was that they had no way of clearing people who had spawn immunity. That was a big issue there as well. The passive was changed to basically mimic Jean Grey. So now they changed the speed bar mechanic that if Howard has 4 or more of the full team, right, Starjammer allies and does not have exhausted or any exhausted, right? So it's just 1 exhausted, not even 2 exhausted. I guess 2 exhaust is it's Odin, right? Odin and Mephisto. This effect persists after this character takes a turn. So this is going to be permanent, essentially, in Cosmic Crucible only, but in both sides, right? And so a lot of people are talking about whether or not that Starjammers is going to be a bit of a defensive menace now with the change to this because they're blocking all speed, but this is going to block Super Scroll, right? I'm pretty sure that was some of the complaints above in terms of why things were changed. Believe they made a specific actual mention about Super Skrull right here. So Howard the Duck's anti-speed bar manipulation is a powerful mechanic. It allowed some older teams and characters were looking at you, Super Skrull, to turn the tide. So apparently they were going up against like Annihilator Super Skrull or just anything Super Skrull, Hive Mind Super Skrull apparently, and Super Skrull just wrecked the team. So now that's going to block it in perpetuity for characters like that and others should include Kahori and things like that as well, that won't get their turn bar from their ultimate, things like that. So this could be a potentially very powerful defensive team. Lalandra's ultimate also got changed, and now this is actually really big. Although it's in Crucible only, it's doing the Thanos endgame thing where it clears all positive effects, including Safeguard. It basically it decays it, right? That thing there by 2. So this is pretty big. It's going to get rid of any Safeguard plus all the buffs. This is pretty strong. But once again, it's in Crucible, but it is available on both sides. So very, very good. Although Lalandra goes 4th. I'm pretty sure something like that, like near the back. I've only played it a couple times because of this past weekend's Crucible. Pretty sure that's the turn order. Gladiator got a little bit of a health bump as well. And then Groot now lowers the assist chance of all enemies by 100% regardless of if his health is greater or equal to 40%. So that's a good thing. So even if his health drops, he's still lowering the assist chance for all enemies. So Odin permanently, these kinds of things. Rocket also got a slight change to his passive. I don't know if this is a big deal, but lower max barrier of all enemies by 20. I guess that's a decent deal. But then if they're lowering, you kind of want them to have barrier, or does that not matter anymore? I guess because Havoc doesn't have that passive about the barrier thing anymore, so maybe it doesn't matter if they even have barrier. Like, I guess I thought they punished. Do they still punish barrier? Like, I guess did they remove that part? I don't know. Anyways, hopefully it's a better team. But my only concern is Did they test this? Did they test the changes? Or are these changes going to go live and there's going to be new problems, that they didn't consider because they just don't check these things before releasing the team, before making the team. They don't even go around checking old meta characters. They kind of like, check teams in the last 6 months, that kind of thing. And they like, okay, does it beat, what happens with any of the teams in the last 6 months? But they do it in a cookie cutter way. Like they don't do any, what you see within Cosmic Crucible creators, things like that, and other people who are theory crafting with hybrids and things like that. They don't test all that. They don't have time for that apparently. So I wouldn't be surprised if this stuff's bugged. Now I do want to talk about Overpower. We're going to go into full screen mode just because it's easier to see the Reddit post. So there was a couple, two specific ones. Actually, I'm going to refresh this, see if there's any more upvotes since, yep, that was about 4 hours. Okay, wow, 206 upvotes. Overpower is a game killer. Don't do that. As you might have seen in the latest strike spot, right, we know about Overpower. If you watch my other video, you know about Overpower. So what I think this is going to do is it's going to incentivize moderate and heavy spenders to buy Gear Tier 20 offers, which are already in the game, by the way. They're in the store online, on the web store online, maybe in games too. You could buy sets of 25 and 25 minis or like one equipment piece. And so you will start to be able to get Gear 20 and they could buy it, right? And that's no surprise, but I think it might convince, maybe, it might convince moderate spenders to buy more than they did before, especially those who are PvP oriented. Because the new overpower mechanic when it comes out is very significant to the point that like if you don't have that or if you don't level or even your characters out against your opponent so that nobody has overpower, then I don't know if skill is going to overcome that amount of power, right? We talked about it earlier with Odin and Null. 75% damage is one tier of overpower. Also, they always win the coin flip too. That was mentioned too. That they always win the speed if there's a mirror match, which might happen in arena, that they're always going to win the coin flip. And this is a big problem, I think. And why you want to focus again, why you want to focus on Odin and Null at G20, because if you don't have a speed advantage somehow, I don't know, maybe we're going to pull Nick Fury back into the game. Nick Fury spreads the speed up, right? That was a meta for a while. That's still a meta. I'm still using Nick Fury in arena offense, so maybe that's going to be a thing because otherwise, if you're going up against overpowered versions, they're going to win first on the coin flip, and that's a big problem. Is this going to kill the game? I think we'll have to wait and see. I mean, it's not going to kill the game. Is it going to make the game a lot less fun for a lot of players? Absolutely. We're gonna have to see what the impact of this is. I think it's looking to go live soon, sooner rather than later, probably before the end of the month. So that's going to be pretty interesting, for lack of better words, interesting to see the impact and the feedback on that because they seem to be wanting to give more incentives to heavy spenders more than they already did, which is weird. Like just so that they could like auto win, I guess, by having such a huge leg up. But where this is going to come into play again is G20 immediately, like within the first month, or people who have a G20s over other players, but also Purple 4 and 5 when that starts coming out, because those are going to be the differences of the overpower is going to be gear, levels, and ISO. And so when Purple 4 and 5 comes out, that's going to push them to spend on that. I think that because Scopely has been losing money in their revenue, that's what that's what they need to happen. They need to make more money. And so this has been a way for them to try and do that. Is this the end of free to play? Let's refresh this one. This one only had about 64 upvotes, but I do want to make a mention of this. The overpowered mechanic mentioned in the most recent strike report is extremely concerning. Mechanic was the way it was described, solves nothing. It sounds like they just wanted a way to solve mirror matches and give the player a way to avoid coin flips so that they always land on the player's side. However, from a free-to-play perspective, we are months behind any spenders when it comes to gear. This just means that there's no truly point to war or CC. Now, what I do want to say is that engaged, skilled, Cosmic Crucible free-to-play players, there's many that I know that are up there in the Masters tier that don't spend or they're incredibly light spending, right? Now, I don't know if those players are going to be able to compete against this when that difference in power is that stark. We'll have to wait and see again as well, but I am not optimistic about that. And all the more reason why I don't really play a whole lot of PvP outside of, well, if that even counts, arena, because we kind of need to for power cores. again, I want to kind of end on this. Null is going to be unlocking on Saturday. And so that's why I wanted to point out the gear for him. Now, his gear requirements is 4 pieces. No, actually, you know what? It's 3 pieces. So that's really interesting. He's actually pretty cheap to gear. I thought it was 4, maybe to go from 18 to 19. No, they even changed that too. So it's I thought it was 4 for some reason. He's not a mythic character, right? He's not even an epic character. But he is going to be a really powerful character when he unlocks. And I think that he's probably going to be your second G20 character. He's going to be my second G20 character. That's what I'm going to be doing because he's going to be very impactful, very meta defining, especially between now and Xavier. And even probably with Xavier, you're probably still going to have him on your arena team. That's just my speculation as well. And so that's what I'm going to be doing after Odin, which is all the reason why I'm picking up G20 minis in the event store. So make sure that you're doing that. I think that's the best idea, in my opinion. Let me know if you think something different in the comments down below. That's going to be the end of this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you'll be greatly helping out the channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.